Dun, 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 dun. Hello, everybody. My name is Radgan. I'm an artist. I'm a teacher, a designer, cartoonist, an illustrator, and everything in between. And now we start the show. I think. Do I click it? Yeah. Hello, everybody. My name is Rodgon. I'm an art teacher, and today I'm going to show you how to draw some cool stuff. So, today, actually, let's start by going what we learned about yesterday. Okay? This is something that was really, really interesting and something that helped out a lot of people. I got a lot of nice messages after actually this lesson, and now that's actually really, really cool to hear. So, yesterday we talked about the head and torso proportions for our characters, how to learn how to manipulate this area of the body, and how to learn how to connect that to your actual body itself, like how to connect your neck to your actual body. And we talked about the system, about just drawing an eyeball at the top of your actual rib cage, and you have your perfect positioning for your arms and your legs and stuff like that. So all you gotta do, well, for your arms. So if you have an eyeball at the top of your rib cage, you have the perfect placement for your neck. And that is also going to be the proper placement for the connection points of your muscles that are going to lead to you understanding how to move your body more. Right? You're going to be able to learn how to manipulate your body if you know where things connect better. So that little simple trick of drawing a little eye at the top of your rib cage is very consistent in giving you the pretty accurate simplification of this neck area. So if you get used to seeing that, even if you're drawing things from behind, you're going to get used to seeing those shapes, and therefore things like views from behind are not going to be as hard anymore. So we talked about that yesterday, and we discovered a bunch of really cool things that we can do. So we also talked a little bit about how the collarbone works and how this helps you like map out the rest of your body. So we can have like a rib cage, and if you want to learn how to map out your neck and you want to learn how to map out your collarbone, it's a matter of just following your rib cage up. That is going to be the center of your eye. The center of your eye would be right here. And then you draw an eyeball, and you get your collarbone. And then from there, that's where your arms come down, and then your shoulders connect halfway to your collarbone. And then your bicep connects to the bottom of your actual bone. And then from here, the body connects with your pectoral muscles that connect underneath your shoulder. And then your back muscles connect here. But as you guys can see, there's a big gap in between where you have your arm and where you have your rib cage, right? And that is easy to differentiate by giving yourself a little eyeball at the top of your rib cage, and that gives you all the spacing that you need to draw your things properly. You're welcome. I'm struggling a lot with arms. Ooh. So Joey is saying that he has always wanted to catch a string. So Joey, if you're paying attention, I'm going to let you choose your theme for today. So just because I randomly saw your message, now you get to choose our theme for today. So Mr. Joey, you seemed very excited for our lesson. So what would you like to learn today? Well, Mr. Joey responds, do me a favor, and please like and share the stream. Hi. Oh my God, thank you. I needed this for my year in fine arts. Woohoo! Awesome. Oh, he's not responding. Oh. Well, maybe he's just a little shy. Jojo, I want to share. Where do I share? I don't use this TikTok. No, Jojo, you got to answer. You got to answer first. You have to answer what our lesson is going to be today. Now, is there a book or a channel you could recommend? I would recommend my channel, Rod Gun the Artist, on YouTube. I have about 400 videos there for you guys. So we're going to give Joey a couple seconds more. And if he can't decide, I'm going to do hair because a lot of people have been wanting to learn about hair. Why do artists wrap their pen? Well, the reason that I wrap it is so that, okay, let me show you the difference between a pen or a pencil that does not have a big pressure point. Look at how close together my fingers are when you do this. It cramps up, right? It creates tension. It creates a lot of pressure into one little signal point, therefore creating a lot of negative pressure for my fingers. By expanding this out a little bit, I give myself a wider range that I can grab with. Instead of just having the tippy toes, I can grab my pen with a variety of different parts and still have a lot of accuracy. So we'll do hair. So Mr. Jojo, someone said you said hair, so let's do hair. Bum, 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 bum. All right, so I see about 180 people in the stream today, but I only see about 2 shares. What is that? That is not going to happen. So if you guys want to actually have our lesson today, you guys have to help me out because I help you guys out. So I want at least 50 shares from you guys, and I want at least 5,000 likes. So once we hit those numbers, we will start. But until then, I'm going to tease you guys with showing you how easy it is to draw cool hair. What kind of hair should we draw today? Afros with like bandanas or things with like bangs. Or should we do little pigtails? All of them would look great on me. Oh yeah. Look at me with my fancy hair. Woo-woo. Dreads, huh? So if I draw I'm gonna draw myself with all the hairstyles, by the way. So it's just gonna be my face with hairstyles. So why? Because I can. And I'm bald. I'm naturally bald, so this is gonna be like a little fantasy. Like, ooh, what does dreadlocks look on Rod? I don't look good with dreadlocks. Well, there's a little there's little tricks that you guys can use for hair. Hair is not necessarily all that hard. If you can draw a blanket, you can draw hair. How about that? Like if you guys can draw a blanket going over like a towel wrapping around the sphere, you can draw hair. So if you can get used to knowing how to wrap a sphere and then have a blanket wrapped around it, you guys will have the gist of hair very quickly. See how it goes around my shape? Around. Boom, it wraps around it. Well, that's one way that you guys can see it. But once we get to the... we need one more share and we start our lesson. One more? All right, awesome. We shall start our lesson on hair. Now, I need a couple people in the chat today to be my helpers. I need you guys to consistently let people know to please like and share the stream. If you guys are willing to do that for me, that'd be amazing. Some of you guys are going to stay for the whole lesson. If you guys are, please just know that any help that you guys provide on your end, moderating the chat or making sure that people have like little answers to things you guys already know, please let them know. This is a community. This is something that I want you guys to just know, like we are a community. So it's not just individuals here coming into the chat. We have a lot of people, and we have a lot of artists, and we have a lot of brain power. So if you guys do know an answer, or you guys have seen a video that I've done that can help someone out, please just point them out to that so that we can get more people learning how to draw hair cool and easy. So for this lesson, we are going to use a heavy amount of perspective knowledge. So the reason that perspective is so prominent when it comes down to hairs is because you need to know how something wraps around an object. If you have something like this, and you want to give it hair, well, first of all, you would need to find the top of the head that would give it like its little hairline, and that's as easy as finding it with a little circle inside of your circle. That is segmenting this little top part. And then from here, you could see this as like a little cone. Okay? So the moment that you have this section at the top, now if this is your face, this can be a cone of volume that happens to fall over it. So now what we do, if we want to segment it in the easiest way possible, we can just do little segments, and now we have the volume for somebody that has hair that's really open. Now, I know that this is weird and it doesn't look like hair, but this is the easiest concept and way to explain it. Having your actual hair falls on top of your head. Now, not all hair is poofy, and not all hair goes up into space. A lot of the hair, especially when it's long, it drapes around our shapes. In this case, it drapes around our skeletal system, or our skull. Okay, so it's draping around this hard surface that's the skull, and it just falls down due to gravity. If it's wet or has any sort of volume, it tends to be more straight. It tends to be a little bit floofier when it's something that it's not necessarily like hanging down with volume, with weight, like with any sort of like, if it's wet or something like that, it would be like this. Right? If it's wet, it would be like straight down. Otherwise, you can style it any way you want. But as you guys can see, it's coming from this little same area. And it pulls it down. So whenever you see women with the bangs in the front of their face, they normally stylize them by curling them up a little bit, and then they fall down. If you think about these things as basic shapes, it would look something like this. And then each individual group of hair that you draw is going to have that same procedure. It's going to grow out, boom, boom, and it gets longer, it starts curving, and eventually it starts falling down. So you go from stubble to longer hair to really heavy hair to hair that's just literally falling down because it's so heavy. And then curly hair is just this initially, and then it just has curls like a spring. So as you go and you draw curly hair, you're going to have mostly flat at the top. It might be a little bit crinkly, right? But then it starts curling into like big springs. But in the essence of it, it's still the same thing. It's a cylinder falling from the top of your head. Okay? When you really think about it, that is essentially the shape of your hair. So, when you start getting used to drawing a little bit more complex shapes than just maybe a sphere, we're going to want to start learning where our hairline is and how it wraps around our head and how we actually make that work. So let's draw a more complicated face, more akin of what I would draw for an actual drawing. The first thing I like to do with my drawings is to identify where my ears are. This is going to give me a balance of my thirds for my midsection. That's going to give me my eyebrows, my nose, and it's going to give me my eye section. Okay, so just by knowing my ears, that gave me all this information. Then the side of my eyebrows are going to give me the side of my face. So I know that every single time, no matter what character I draw, right, the eyebrow is going to dictate where my head goes from round to flat. Because that is where the temple hits, and that is roughly the indicator in my skull. That's the closest indicator of my skull that indicates how this transitions from round to flat. So I like my eyebrows to be that indicator. This is going to go around my cheekbones and down my chin and create the side of my face. Okay, so now that I know that I have 3 sections, 2, 3, and my midsection is going to be most of my features. This is my feature zone. Then this bottom part is going to be my chin and my mouth and my tear nose. And that gives us all this information, by the way. It gives you your cheekbones. It gives you everything. Like that little triangle, you can start a face with a triangle and be perfectly happy. Like you can draw a triangle and then use those lines from your triangle to draw your mask. And then you have a teardrop for your mouth and your chin, and you have everything in the face in like a second. And you don't have to worry so much about if it's in the right place or not, because it's just math. So once you start learning how to map one thing out, everything else starts falling into place easy. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to focus most hair in the upper part of our drawing. So regardless of it being a profile picture, right, it stays 1, 2, 3. We're going to stay here for our hairline. And we're going to focus on this top area. We're going to draw a couple faces. So you guys see that this applies to a multitude of different variety of things. And it works really nicely. Okay, so now we have a frontal view and we have a 3/4 view. So now we're going to use these little guidelines and we're going to use these to help us segment things a little bit better. So now we have our ear line. The first things that we know is that we have sideburns, right? So we got to leave a little space for sideburns. So the sideburn goes up and then it goes into, like, we have like our eyebrows. For the top of the head, we have eyebrows, forehead, and hairline. So how big of a forehead do we want to give it? Like, normally your hair sits at the top of your actual skull. It doesn't really sit like very far down onto your forehead. It tends to sit a little bit higher on your head, closer to the top of your actual skull. And then from there, a lot of people make this mistake. I made this mistake in this one, but I don't leave space for the brain. So I got to make sure that I leave space for the brain in my drawings. So that's why you normally get this section. And that's also why proportions are so important, by the way. When you're drawing heads, the actual human proportions that you should focus on are these. Most of your features will fall within this little section of your shapes. okay? So most of your features will fall underneath half of your drawing. This is supposed to be all the space for your brain. And this is going to be your forehead, your eyebrows, and everything else. Most of the time, these proportions, this character is looking down a little bit, but it's a little bit off. People forget to leave space for our actual brain. Now, this is a little bit big. It's probably going to be like this big. That's why I was way too big. But you need to leave space for our brain. So we end up with our features roughly still being about half, by the way. So when you're drawing your heads, for example, this one's a little bit off because I'm not giving it enough space for the top, but it's easy to stylize when it's half, 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 half. When I measure everything in half, it's very easy to stylize because I know where everything's going to fall. But if I'm thinking about thirds or fourths or anything like that, it's going to become a little bit harder for me to be able to map those out in different perspectives, for example. Right? If I want to draw something looking up, all I got to do is draw my triangle up, draw my nose by connecting 3 dots to that triangle, and now I have a perfect nose looking up. I have a little teardrop that comes from underneath that diamond, and then my cheekbones connect through that same angle of that diamond, and that top for my eyebrows is just going straight through that diamond or that triangle. You just go like this. And then for the nose, you do a dot and connect all 3 dots. So that is what you do to come up with these situations instead of like the whole draw this and then like curve the angles of the things and stuff. You don't have to do that. Well, you can if you are a very good person that visualizes things very well. That's very easy. But I like to make sure that I don't have to visualize things. So I don't have to think about anything. I just get to be creative. So the way that I do it is like that. And it is a lot more consistent for me to be able to come up with the more difficult angles that are normally a pain in the ass to draw. Because I just start connecting things. So I know that my ear goes in between my eyes and my eyebrows. So all I got to do is find what direction my head is going to go, draw around my shape so that I have the spacing for my ear. And I can find the spacing for this other ear as well if I want to by just drawing through my shape as well. My jaw is just the bottom connecting points of my ear connecting to my chin. So now I have my jaw. I know that I have to have volume to my actual head, so I just add a little bit of volume coming back. And then my neck connects from my bottom of my ears down to my collarbone, which is an eyeball. And just like that, positions that were hard before, they tend to be a little bit less intimidating. And then it's just a matter of understanding perspective and overlapping shapes to be able to get the exact look that you really want. So let's do that again. And then we'll go into hair because I just ended up going into like anatomy lessons for the faces. Actually, no, let's just draw hair here too. Each time that we talk, we'll talk a little bit about hair as well. So in this case, our top third is a little bit smaller than the second and the third because we are looking up. So in this case, we're going to barely skim the top of our drawing and give ourselves a sideburn. And then we have our hairline. And then from there, we just have to build volume in whichever way we feel like we want to get it. Remember, hair goes up. And if a character has hair going up, they probably stylize it with hair gel and stuff. make it fun by making it wavy. But as long as you have it coming out of the actual, think about your actual head like a pot of, like a head. Oh my God, this is a really good analogy. Hold on. So think of your hair, or like the top of your head, like a plant pot. Okay? So if you go out and you practice drawing plants, you will get used to drawing things like this. Okay? You will get used to drawing strands and leaves and things like that. So if you think about the top of your head like a potted plant, it becomes a little bit easier to actually draw interesting hair. Okay, if you can think about it like that, it becomes a little bit easier to think about something coming out or growing out of a segment. So in this case, we just did like a little potted plant. And that could be a way that you guys can think about it. You can think about it like a potted plant with vines coming down. And just by thinking about it like that, it can help you another idea of how to visualize hair a little bit better. How to draw hair floating like the wind. Okay, so hair in itself is very lightweight, but it's all put together into clumps. So your clumps have to move depending on how heavy your hair is. So let's do an example. We have Mr. Joe Schmo with his little tiny haircut. He only has like a little bit of volume to his hair, and it's very short, so it doesn't really move with the wind. The wind hits him, and it doesn't really affect him much. Maybe his hair goes to the side a little bit. Okay? Whee! Maybe a little bit to the side. Maybe he has like his little bangs like pushing out to the side because of it. But when it comes down to somebody with long hair, instead of the hair going down like we had before, right? Instead of going down and becoming like this cylinder, instead of doing that, the hair starts getting pushed in this direction. So it still stays within the same boundaries. You just start seeing it go more with the flow of where the wind is hitting. See what I mean? So the wind hits this way, the hair is just going to move that way. The same thing would happen if it blows up or to the side or any other direction. So it goes with the wind. Now, if you had like, let's see, what other way to describe this? Let's say the hair is blowing up. So the hair is like Marilyn Monroe type of thing. The hair is going to be blowing up. We have our ears. So the hair would technically just be like the inflatable tube man. It would just be going up into a multitude of directions because it would be a turbulent wind going up. So all the lines in your hair would go up. So that is what would happen if the hand like went up. All your flow lines would go in that direction. Same thing that happens whenever you have like a ponytail or a pigtail or something like that. You're going to have most of your lines, let's say you have your basic character. We draw our hairline by drawing a circle inside of your circle. We draw an ear and we give it sideburns. So now that's how we come up with our hairline. Okay? And then we're going to give it pigtails. So if we have two big shapes right here, the hair normally will pull from the hairline back to wherever it's getting pulled to. Right? It's going to always pull back to this one section. Same thing happens with these areas. Like buns and stuff like that you draw on characters are going to get pulled towards the little scrunchie or whatever section is getting pulled. Hair is a lot of little strands, but you don't have to draw every strand. You just have to draw where it's coming from and where it's ending. And you can draw interesting hair like that. You get it now? Yay! Awesome. So the actual essence of drawing different shapes of hair is just about learning how the hair compresses into those sections. So if you have hair that you want to draw like an afro, you got to understand that that's just poofy hair that's pretty long too. So it's just poofy hair that's really curly and very compact together. Give yourself a hairline at the upper third of your shape. Whichever type of hairline you want. You can have it receding, you can have it like a V cut, you can have it straight. There's a bunch of different ways you can draw your hairline. And then draw your volume coming from there, like a potted plant. Don't draw hair that connects to the back of the head. Like if your body's right here, right, and you have your little character, an afro connects back to the head. It doesn't connect back to the back of the body or something. You know, like think about where it connects back onto the actual head, because if you start drawing things floating or just magically in different spaces, that's when things start looking off. Pigtails on this person would be like this. Could you do something with wrinkles? But that's not hair. Nah. We'll do wrinkles and like old. We can age a face. Yeah, let's do a side lesson. Why not? Where are my post-its? So let's do a little side lesson. Side lesson! All right, so let's age a person really quickly, okay? So let's say that you want to add a lot of age to a character and you want to slowly age them into like, you know, from childhood to, I don't know, old age. So the first thing we're going to draw is we're going to draw a circle that's going to be our foundation for our skull. So I like to start drawing my faces by drawing a little triangle. That is going to give me all the guidelines that I need for my mask. And it's also going to give me my guideline for my face. So that little triangle, perfect, awesome, gives me so much information. So now if we want to start with a character that's young, we're going to draw a chin that's relatively small. And we're going to have the facial features be closer together and have a bigger forehead. So the moment that you create a bigger forehead, you create baby-like features, and therefore it's going to look younger. The bigger the forehead, the younger the character is going to look. So let's start off with just a normal basic character. So our little young character right here could be some. If I wanted to make him even younger, I just have to make this inside part a little bit bigger. You know, there's a bunch of different ways that I can make this character look a little bit younger. But normally making the eyes a little bit bigger is the case, and making the jaw a little bit smaller. Our ear would fall within our thirds. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to start aging this character slowly. If we go to extremes, we would end up drawing a character very old by making his face melt. By enhancing just this bottom part, we're going to leave this top part relatively the same. Okay? We're going to leave this part relatively the same. And you're going to start seeing these shapes, like the little teardrop. If we make it melt more, you're going to start seeing the character just naturally age. As you get older, you start seeing a lot more detail, and your body parts start to kind of sag due to gravity. So as you get older, you start getting more things that hug against your skull, and you start seeing a little bit more of your actual anatomy. Your ears are also cartilage, so they tend to sag a little bit more. And your nose as well. Your nose tends to get a little bit bigger, a little bit bulkier, and they tend to go down. So when we look at these, you're going to see a person that's really old and a person that's really young. But you're going to see that it's going to be essentially the same. You're going to start seeing a lot more details of the eyelids. You would start seeing little lines underneath the eyes. You would start seeing little wrinkles happening around the eyes, the side of the face. Maybe you start having receding hairline as opposed to like a nice full hairline. And just by knowing what happens with your body, I can easily draw a character looking older or looking younger and still have it look like the same character. So, as you guys see, you guys can have anywhere in between, right? And if you wanted to make somebody in between, just draw the jawline about halfway in between, and then you guys would get that different, character. Let me show you. That's why I like Post-it so much. So let's cover this part, and let's make an adult. See what I mean? By just changing the size of the jaw, you can make a character look younger, older, or, alternatively So character design in itself is not necessarily all that hard. It's just about learning how to place things in the right place. Right? And that is what you do. A girl versus a woman. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same concept. It's just the skull is not different between men and women. So the skull is not any different from a man and a woman. So it's the same process. Exact same process. Triangle into your facial features. Right? And then instead of drawing, I don't know, if I want to make this into like a girl, I just got to draw like a little bit more like details. Like that's all you got to do. Like you just have to focus more on like a little feminine features, like a little nose, a little mouth, maybe some slanted eyes instead of like more full round eyes. And you end up with more of like a little like a female look to things. Hairstyles play a big role. Okay. But that can easily just be drawn in a completely different style. If we want to make an older woman, same concept applies. So same exact concept applies. You just have to make the actual face structure underneath the jaw. This is where you get your age. Boop. It's not from the top. This is, besides from the hairline, it's remarkably the same. But it's only when you start drawing the proportions that it changes everything. So proportions are everything. As opposed to kid, not kid. By keeping all the other proportions the same and just changing that, you guys can age a character significantly. Wait, what? Art baby, what? Do you have any tips for underwater? We're not talking about that. Don't get angry, I'm just dumb. What? What? Anyways, I don't like you guys putting yourselves down anyway, so that's a kind of I don't enjoy hearing you guys talk bad about yourselves. So never, ever, ever, remember this, guys. You are going to be your only biggest fan, right? You are going to be the only person that really, truly understands how important it is for you to succeed. So why would you ever let or allow your biggest fan, or would your biggest fan ever put you down? I don't think so. So whenever you are talking about your art skills and you're talking about the things that you guys do, don't let yourselves talk negatively about yourselves. I know this sounds like just like dad talk and stuff like that, but I have seen so many people feel so discouraged from talking down about themselves when no one else ever did. And it's going to, it's haunting sometimes to see how that negativity can eat you up and cause you to not want to keep going. Not necessarily like suicidal or anything like that, but I'm talking about like going in your career as an artist. It just becomes quintessential to have somebody backing you up. And if you don't have a spouse or a partner that like has that responsibility to help you, it has to be you. So no one is ever going to really understand how important it is to be able to learn these things and the time you need to study and the things that you want to pursue. No one will. So don't put yourself down, because you're the only person that really has your back completely. Okay? So don't, like, that's why I just don't like people putting themselves down. And I will actively be telling you not to. So that little shape works really nice. Okay, so let's actually focus on that. I think hair in itself, man, I just don't think hair really deserves all that much attention. Maybe because I'm bald, but I honestly find that as long as you understand where the hairline is, right, and that you understand that it's right there at the upper part of the head, whatever you end up drawing from there and then connecting back to those areas can be anything, as long as it goes back and connects back to that space. Hair is such a huge variety of like styles and shapes. It's kind of like saying like there's only one way to draw a mustache, right? And that's kind of like, ooh. So as long as you understand how to find your hairline, you should be able to naturally be able to fit it back onto those spaces and be able to draw your hair a little bit more accurate. So let's go onto the actual face structure though. Like I really, really enjoyed that little triangle thing, so I want to explore it a little bit more. So let's go into our circle. Let's do a face shape. Let me take this out for a second. We're going to start with guidelines by drawing a circle inside of my circle. I'm going to draw a guideline. This is going to give me either this is the front line, this is my front line, or this is the front and this is the back, or this is the left, this is the right. It really depends on whatever I want to make that guideline. But in this case, I'm going to use it to draw a little triangle to give myself some indication as to where my face is looking, where my nose is going to come out from, and also is going to give me my cheekbone guidelines, my eyebrow guidelines, and my face guidelines. All that stuff just from that little triangle. So now I have all those features in the front of my face. Now from here, if I want to draw my nose, all I got to do is draw a dot to where I want my nose to be, like how far out I want my nose to be, and then I just connect it to all three spaces. And now I have my little guideline for my nose. Now from here, I know that this is curvy too, so I know that this is going to be more like a sphere. So from this guideline, I get a little teardrop, and now I have my little guideline with curvature for my mouth. So all these little guidelines can be my mouth. It could be this one, it could be this one, it could be this one, depending on what style I want to achieve. I had my chin on top of that. So here I'm just going to have my mouth be from this point to this point, connecting, and adding negative space. So now I have a mouth. And I also have my cheekbone and my muscle that blocks my mouth from showing all the way across. So now I can go from the end of my cheekbones to my chin and create that little triangle part that happens at the front of my face. This is not my jawline. This is just the little muscle that connects my cheekbone to my chin. Then from there, this is the side of my face, so this will be where my eyebrow is. This edge right here of this mask is going to give me the side of my face. And this angle right here that I draw my nose bridge at is going to give me the curvature that I need for the top part of my actual head. Whatever angle you draw for your nose bridge, you're going to simulate that same angle right there. And you're going to simulate that same angle right there too. Your cheekbone wraps around and connects, creating these little heart shapes at the side. So you have two little hearts connected by a triangle now. So we have a triangle connected by two little hearts. So you end up with a shape like this. This is going to give you your midline for your eyes. It's going to give you your eyebrows. It's going to give you the curvature for your nose bridge. It's going to give you your cheekbones. And it's going to give you the edge of your face. About halfway down my actual head is going to be my ear. And then the bottom of my ear connects to the bottom of my chin to finish my face. So this is the process that we just came up with right now. And it works so nice too. Let's draw an angry face like this. Okay, cool. So let's start with our circle. We're going to start with our guideline. We're going to start with a triangle. And we're going to make an angry eyebrows. So I got to find my eyebrows first, where my eyebrows and my cheekbone's going to be. This is going to be the side of my face because the top part right here is going to be my eyebrow. So that's going to give me my surfaces. From here, I'm going to draw my triangle and my teardrop so I can come up with my chin and connect it to the midline of my face. So now I have my actual face structure. Cool. I don't have to worry about that. Now I can make it angry. Now my eyebrows, my nose is here. So I can make my nose pointing down by drawing that and connecting all 3 dots to it. So now my nose is there. My eyebrows are going to be angry, so they're going to be pointing down. Then my eyes are going to be angry as well, so they're going to be shut. The same angle that I choose for here, I'm going to choose for this part right here and for this part right here. And I'm going to choose the angle of my cheekbones. Then we can make the character really angry. So if you want to make the mouth bigger than what your little area provides, just make that little area bigger, right? So if you need to make it bigger for whatever styling purposes, just make the teardrop wider so that you have that same volume in there. So if you need to go from a mouth that's like this to a mouth that's like this or even bigger, you just make that shape bigger, right? Modify the shape once you understand how the shape works. Once you understand it, you can modify it. But until you don't know how to modify it, just keep it nice and simple through basic guidelines. Follow these guides, these lines to find where your nose goes, your mouth goes. Draw your face, triangle, teardrop, and then follow your lines for your cheekbones and stuff. Okay, so now you can maintain those ratios and just be happy drawing things within those spaces, or learn to modify them and start changing them once you learn where things properly go. How about to draw the eyes? Because in my drawings, I can't really tell the difference. You want to draw different eyes? I made a deer with those instructions. Yeah, you can make anything with those instructions. If you wanted to draw, like, I don't know, animals, instead of drawing a little teardrop, you could start with your triangles too, and then, I don't know, make a heart. And now you have little corgis and stuff, or animals in general. You can change the size of the nose, you can change the size of the heart, but that's just going to be another way that you guys can use this same skill set to be able to produce things that are not necessarily human. So that same concept applies to everything. So you can use that with even animals, that anything that has a skull can be applied with that. So even animals that have like a longer snout, if you think about it from the actual anatomy point, you would have something along the lines of your triangle being like that, and then these lines would just be bigger, right? The teardrops and stuff like that would be a little bit different, but it would be very similar process. Maybe that you would have this a little bit lower too. The process of the actual skulls are very similar across species. Understanding how that works is going to be up to you, because no one can really tell you how to see things. Okay, you need to actually learn. This is why we learn anatomy and perspective and all that stuff. We learn that so we can see these things, so that we can compete with the people that can. So being able to understand that you can take this same knowledge that I'm teaching you guys and apply that to absolutely any sort of animal or character is going to be very, very good for you to learn. because that same concept is very easy to apply to a multitude of things. Not just animals, but it could be birds, it could be anything you feel like making. So this is just going to be a universal thing that you guys can use for your everyday drawings. And as you get better at learning different things to draw and practice from different things in life, you're going to just naturally be better at it. Yeah, if you want to learn the method, it's just about learning how your actual skull works. So if you're going to start your faces, this is a very easy way that you guys can learn it. We start with a triangle at the middle of our face. Wherever you want your face to look. If you want your face to look up, draw a triangle up. If you want your face to look down, draw your triangle down. Okay? And then you're going to draw the direction of the nose. The nose is going... no, let's wait on the nose till the end. These lines are already going to tell you a lot of information. So going up, you're going to get your eyebrow line from both sides. Going down, you're going to get your cheekbone line. And then just whenever you're drawing 3/4, just don't go all the way to the edge. Make one side go to the edge, make the other one not. Okay, so now we have that. Now from there, we're going to draw our nose. Our nose is going to be as easy as taking that triangle that we drew and drawing a dot in whatever direction we want the tip of our nose to be. So in this case, let's draw their nose looking really far up. And we're going to draw a little dot right there. I'm going to connect all 3 of those points to that dot. Da-da. So now there, from this same triangle, I'm going to draw a teardrop coming down to the edge of my face where my chin is. This space is going to be where my mouth goes. You can modify it, you can change it slightly if you want, but you'll know that within this space, that's where your mouth has to go, regardless of whatever sort of facial features you choose to make. Okay? Whatever is going to be inside of this space, and it's very easy to map out by drawing like a little sphere inside. So by doing that, you already have every feature of the face pretty much mapped out. Then it's just a matter of drawing your eyes, however you want inside of here, and drawing your eyebrows. And you won't always have to have your eyebrows completely open. Once you know where they go, you can change them to whatever you need. So once you understand where they go, you can change that to any position you feel like. Looking down. So those lines give you a bunch of help by just understanding your underlying anatomy, right? So the reason that I can do this is because I know that my actual face has a big triangle that doesn't move in the middle of my face. So when I'm looking at my actual skull, I see a huge little triangle in the middle of my face, right? So I can use that as a guideline to help me map out these other coordinates that map around that shape. So all these are just guidelines that come out of that one space. So this way we get our cheekbone. This way we get our eyebrow. This way we get our mouth. And if we start using those guidelines as resources, we can start using those to draw our characters a little bit cooler. And that is how we learn little by little. It's going to take a while, and it's not just going to be magically like, in your repertoire from the get-go. But the more that you practice and the more that you actually acknowledge those little tiny elements, like the little bone actually showing through and like your eyelid being hemispheres on your eye, stuff like that. Little things like that will eventually help you be able to do this with no effort at all. Yeah, the nose in itself is actually really simple. Like triangle, dot, connect all three, and then stylize it whichever way you want. Beep-a-doo, triangle, dot, connect all three, create a pyramid. Round it out, create some chibi noses. Bye-bye. This is amazing. Woohoo! All right, we are getting close to the end of our lesson for today, everybody, unfortunately. So, as we get closer to the end of our lesson, I would like to thank you guys for being my sketching buddies today. I hope that you guys learned a little bit, and I hope that you guys go out into today inspired to draw and create and maybe unlock something else in your brain. If you guys are wondering, I do have a new book coming out this week. The Pinups book, complete edition, finally ended up being 110 pages. And I finally finished it. I just need to go over typos and then publish it through Amazon. And then I'm going to order some versions so that I can do some commission ones for people. Because some people said that they would want like their own little custom pinup inside of the book. So I'll order some for myself so that I can do those things and ship those out individually. But just keep an eye out for that if you guys are actually interested in actually purchasing that book. That book is amazing. Like, that is my gift to the world. Like, if I ever don't do any other piece of artwork in my life and I die tomorrow and that book came out, that would be what people would remember me by. So have a wonderful, wonderful day, my friends. If you guys do want to support, I do have books for sale. I have bundles. I have a lot of courses online, but they're free. So you guys can go check out the ones that I have on YouTube. And then if you guys feel like supporting, I do have channels on 21 Draw, and I have other things that you guys can purchase as well if you guys want. But none of my information that I teach will ever be strictly relegated to people that pay. It's more like if you want to help support the cause, that's fantastic. If not, don't worry about it. I don't ever ask for anything in return. I essentially am the artist that I wish that I had met when I was becoming an artist myself. That is my saying. That is what I want to be for the rest of my life. And I'm going to be that for a lot of people coming up in the future. So have a lovely day, everybody. I'm going to send you guys off with a nice message, though. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday, right? I think it's Thursday. Is it Thursday? Wednesday. It's Tuesday. Holy shit. Oh my God, I thought it was Thursday. Oh, I do not know what day I live in, man. Anyways, I want you guys to start this beautiful Taco Tuesday off in a really good way and show a little bit of love to either someone else or yourself. Either treat yourself to something nice today or make sure to make someone's day a little bit better. be it by saying something nice or, sending a welcome message or saying a happy birthday or whatever to other people. Just make sure that today you show a little bit of love to other people. I also want you guys to go out into your worlds, and I want you to enjoy a little bit of your sunlight. Go out adventure, go for a walk, go take your dog out, go walk to the store instead of driving. Go get yourself a snack, a Slurpee or whatever, and then just enjoy the walk back. Have a little baby adventure every day so that you don't ever run out of inspiration of things to do. We often run dry because we are often using all our creativity and energy to be able to maintain our social medias happy, right? And like be able to create the content and shit. So make sure that you actually go out and live your life a little bit, because otherwise you're going to run dry. And I want you also to laugh a little. So I want you to put your favorite podcast on, or I want you to put your favorite dad joke YouTuber on, or whatever on, and make sure that you get a little bit of laughter today. Because if you're not laughing, really, like, what's the point of life if you don't really get to laugh once in a while? And we are all artists, and we can't get away from this. So I want you to go out, and I want you to draw a lot. If you guys actually drew along with me, you guys have fulfilled your quota and you guys are good to go for today. If not, try to dedicate at least 15 minutes of dedicated drawing time to yourself to be able to improve on a daily basis. Be it that for technical skills like exercises like circles and perspective and cylinders and triangles and pyramids that will help you eventually draw noses and arms and legs and eyeballs, or just practice what you know how to draw so you feel proud about what you're doing and be able to actually have that drive to be able to keep going as well. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Honestly, love you all. Have a lovely day. Just enjoy your life. Take care. Bye.